Hi, welcome. We are live here in New York City, awaiting President Trump to arrive here in the Harlem area, where he has planned to make a stop at one of the convenience stores here in this part of town. Welcome, everybody. Brian Glenn live, continuing coverage of President Trump in New York City. Now, today was wrapped up day 2 of jury selection, and the president leaving the courthouse at around 5:40-ish local time here today, making his way up to us. We've got an extensive broadcast to talk about it. Before we do that, let's turn our attention to one of our partners over at the Birch Gold Group. They are the experts in gold, silver, and precious metals. And they can certainly help you secure your financial savings and your investments and make sure that this Bidenomics necessary does not hurt your investments. So just simply text the words Trump to 989898 and you'll get your free information kit for the Birch Gold Group. And they are the experts in gold, silver, and precious metals, the Birch Gold Group. All right, like I said, we're live here in New York. Now, it's tough for us to turn the cameras right now because we do have a serious media presence. It's very tight where we're at right now, so I'm going to apologize. I'm not going to be able to turn it too much, but Joe will show you. If you could just turn to your to our left, their right, and you see that we've got a crowd that is formed just on the other side of where we're at, this convenience store. It does go down this entire block. They do have it sectioned off for security reasons, and of course across the street is the same situation. We've got police bike racks around blocking some of the streets, and just really trying to hold and contain the crowds that have really over the last couple hours gathered here on the side of the road. So as you would expect when you see a sizable police presence here in this area, anywhere in New York City to this degree, you're going to have a lot of people that's going to stop, come by, and want to know exactly what is going on. And so you've got a lot of people that are just living the area, get off work, obviously trying to get back to the house, maybe try to hit the grocery store on the way home. And so obviously they're having to deal with this traffic being a little bit delayed than's normal, but that is pretty much protocol, obviously, when you've got President Trump or any kind of elected official in this area. So day 2 of the jury selection wrapped up this afternoon. The judge going a little later than we thought, delaying him to where we're at right now. So that is the situation on us. Now, the president's going to focus on crime, rising crime in this city, and particularly in this area. Now, the particular bodega that we're at now had an incident back in July 1st, 22. Jose Alba was working behind the counter of this bodega when a woman attempted to purchase a bag of chips but did not have enough money. Then she called her boyfriend, who then jumped the counter to assault Jose Alba, who was working at this convenience store. And in self-defense, he stabbed and killed the man. Now, afterwards, Alba was arrested for second-degree murder. He was also locked up at Rikers Island until his bail was lowered to $250,000. Then on July 19th, Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg finally agreed to drop the charges against Alba, conceding there was not enough evidence to prove that the worker was not justified in using deadly force. Now, Alba told news outlets that he was thinking about moving back to his homeland of the Dominican Republic, but end up suing the city for wrongful prosecution after jailing him in Rikers Island. So this is the backstory on why we're here today. And of course, the crime, and not only in this area, but across New York City, has gone up quite a lot here in the last really 5 to 6 years. Now, if you look at bodegas in general, they are the backbone of this city. It seems like they are very localized. They connect with the community and the people who live in this area. So it's something that a lot of people can connect with no matter what country that you might be from. And they typically have long hours. They're usually one of these, you hear of food deserts to a certain degree. They do provide access to food and nutrition for people who live in this area. So it is very important that they stay open as long as possible. And so since all of these attacks have been happening on these bodegas, they've typically have found that some of them have closed down and some of them have gone to limited hours as well. And so they've been described as, the heart of the community, and they serve as a place for neighbors to connect daily, and that's the importance of bodegas. And if you're not from New York City, if you are from New York City, this is very much a staple of this city. And of course, a lot of some of your international cities have bodegas, very similar to what we're standing there in front of us. But what had happened over the last couple years is they've been crushed by Democratic policies. And back in 2023, New York imposed a $1 tax hikes on cigarettes, making New York the most expensive place to buy cigarettes. And of course, I don't encourage anyone to smoke, so I'll just say a side note on that. But rather than reducing smoking, the policy has hurt bodegas by a spurred rise in black market sales of cigarettes. And of course, the crime or the lack of prosecution of crime has allowed a lot of shoplifting to take place, not only here in this particular bodega, but bodegas all around the New York City. And so also in 2020, New York banned the use of plastic carryout bags at stores and restaurants. Now, bodega owners opposed the ban, arguing that the ban would force them to use costlier bags that hurt the low-end customers. And we've kind of seen that around the country, and that years ago kind of shifting off this more green climate, kind of a cleaner climate agenda, getting rid of these disposable bags and going to more of an upscale reusable bags. And they've said that that's actually hurt their customers, because it's something that has increased the cost for them to have. And of course, Bidenflation is hitting bodegas at the checkout counter. If you look at what has happened since Joe Biden has taken office, we've got eggs up 49%. We've got just trying to see what we have here. I think some people getting in place here. Eggs are up, cereal and bakery goods are up as well. So across the board, inflation in general has really hurt the lower income people, not only in this area, but also across. Now, let's talk about crime for a second, and that's one of the reasons why we're here. New York is home to at least 13,000 of this style bodega, and this is, like I said, this is an integral part of this community. This is at the heartbeat of this community. In a lot of cities, this is where people come together, and they not only to pick up their coffee and their grocery and things like that, but they also, share bonds and common experiences, and friendships are developed. And right now, with New York police force is on track to this fall to have the lowest numbers in 1990s by 1925. By 2025, so this style of store has been declining because of not only the crime but also inflation hitting some of these store owners very bad. Now, what Alvin Bragg has done, he said he would reserve, he would pre-trial detention for serious crime. So basically, a lot of shoplifters, there's no threat of them being prosecuted. So you're allowing these thieves essentially come into these stores, shoplift, and get what they want, with really no fear of being prosecuted. And that is in all the hands of the district attorney Alvin Bragg on this. And of course, in 2019, New York City ended the bail for most crimes, making it easier for criminals to return to the streets. So this lack of, urgency to crack down on crime is the very reason why you're seeing, not just here in New York City, but of course you're seeing this across the country. Los Angeles, Chicago experience a spike in crime, Philadelphia as well, Pittsburgh, and even some of these cities in the Midwest, some of these smaller cities, you've got some very Democrat-based, city councilmen and things like that have really passed the buck when it comes to cracking down on this crime. If now joining us, we are live here in New York City. We're in the Harlem area, right in front of this bodega. And we've been out here for several hours. As you would imagine, the security here in this area is tight, as you would expect for the president to come anywhere, especially out in the public like this. And of course, we can't show you, but to a certain degree, you can see a shot straight ahead. We do have a large crowd that is gathered on this patio of a Mexican restaurant there. And of course, you've got businesses that line both sides of this street. And in the last couple of hours, we've seen some people shouting that hey, Trump 2024, Trump's our next president. You've had people go by and shout things. And I think the crowd that's gathered here, I would expect to be a very friendly crowd to President Trump. But that is to be all transparency, there have been some hecklers. There have been some people in the crowd across the street that have voiced their opinion against the former president. So you will see a mixed reaction, I expect, when he does pull up, although the people here gathered in front, obviously, are supporters of the president. Now, if you go back and look at what happened to the gentleman who worked worked at this convenience store, he'd been here since July 2022. There we go. I'm just making sure I got that. Was arrested for fatally stabbing the attempted robber. Now, when you think about what he did, it was basically in an effort of self-defense, of trying to, his life was in jeopardy. Basically. The livelihood of his business was in jeopardy. So a lot of business owners in this area have taken upon themselves to get their permit carry to secure their business. And of course, depending on what state you're in, the gun laws, if you look at your District of Columbia, Washington, D.C., very tight gun laws. And of course, a lot of, like Chicago is another example, very tight gun laws. But if you go down to Texas, where I would expect, most business owners for small business would likely have their firearm nearby for that. Hey, also, let's thank our partners in all of this. That is the Birch Gold Group. They have been a big part of making sure that we have the ability. That's a good shot there. That's a good shot across the street to show the police presence here. It is definitely on both sides of the road. But the Birch Gold Group has been that partner in all of this with us. And so I just want to make sure if you're on the fence, you've seen us talk about gold and investing in gold, silver, and precious metals, take that action. It won't cost you anything to get the information that you need to make that educated decision. To simply text the words Trump to 989898 for that free information kit. That was a good look across the street. We have seen, when we pulled up earlier, of course, we had no idea where we were going. And so we saw the bike racks. I don't know if, Joe, if you can show some of these bike racks just off the road. There you go. Just the bike racks that go a couple of blocks, actually, these bike racks going both sides, kind of keeping the crowd from not only crossing the street in any kind of rush fashion, but it does set a perimeter to this area, which I think is important. Obviously, we've got some dogs that are specialized in sniffing for firearms and explosives. They are here as well. The cops really cracking down on traffic coming through here, making sure that nobody can stop. No one's not allowed to, pull on the side of the road and stop. You got to keep moving. So they're really securing this area the best they can, because when you have a situation where you have President Trump coming to this area, stopping in a very densely populated area. I don't have a population for Harlem, and I wouldn't even want to speculate, but this is a very, as you would think, New York City to a degree, where you have these apartments that are so tight together, and it's apartment building next to one another, and the businesses, and of course what you have also, and this is interesting, is you have the window units that are all lining up to this area. So you've got a very highly visible spot that President Trump will be at. So you can imagine the security obviously is at its full force, as you would expect that to be. But as we talked yesterday at the park, I talked to a lot of New Yorkers, and they said, we are at a point where, one guy, said earlier that New York was the city that never sleeps, and that you could go out at 1 a.m. and have at a diner and have a cup of coffee and have a scrambled eggs or have a late night steak. You could do that years ago, but now things have changed, and this is now the city that does sleep, and that you can't necessarily go out at 1 o'clock in the morning to a diner and have something to eat. So, and that's due to crime. That's due to the fact these business owners do not feel comfortable, staying open late, having their business open 24 hours a day. And like when you go down to Times Square, it is a very interesting situation where, there's, maybe 20 years ago, and I was told under Giuliani that you could go to Times Square. You could walk around New York City and go to a diner at 2 a.m. in the morning and have your bacon, eggs, and your cup of coffee. That is not the case now, and people are quite honestly scared to go out late at night. Now, we've been here since we drove in on Sunday, from the rally in Pennsylvania, and I personally have not gone out at night. I would say, when I say night, I say past maybe 8 o'clock to do anything, and mainly because I need to, I don't know my way around here. I don't really particularly feel that safe if I'm in an environment that I don't know. But you walk around, you do see a lot of empty storefronts. You see a lot of for lease, not only on the retail side, because this crime, this Biden crime is what you can call it, as far as the policies and the migrants that have come up here. There's more openings now for retail space than some locals said they've ever seen before, and restaurants that are going out of business, retail stores that can no longer survive due to the shoplifting that they have. So that's one of the things that they have to deal with as a business owner. And so, quite honestly, you put that on top of the high taxes that a lot of business owners have to pay here. You have seen an exodus of people coming, moving out of New York and going to states down south or out perhaps somewhere in the Midwest. So, you've got this exodus of New York, and then of course you throw on all of these lawsuits, and you throw all these judgments against the president, and you've got this hypersensitive environment for business in general that is very hard to survive. And you throw the threat of crime on top of that, and then you've got a situation where you're dealing with you're not safe. The streets aren't safe, and also you're dealing with high crime or high tax for that as well. So a lot of challenges in New York City, and of course the people are fed up with it. You saw the event yesterday that we had, that we covered at the Collect Pond Park, and you saw the fact that a lot of New Yorkers came out there and said, hey, we need to clean this city up. It wasn't like this. And these, Mayor Eric Adams and his lack of, decision to prosecute some of these criminals, and the migrants that have been basically shipped up here from Texas and around the country are now on the streets, and they've got these migrant camps throughout the city. I personally have not seen a high concentration of these migrant camps. I am told that they are in certain areas. I just have not been in those areas, so I can't personally say I've seen them. But I have seen, groups of people on the streets that it's very apparent that they, came here. They have pretty much a suitcase in their hand for as well. So I have seen that firsthand, walking the streets. Now, some owners have really stopped even reporting thefts because they lack the confidence in the criminal justice system, and they thought, well, why even report it? Why have the police come out? It's one of those situations where shop owners almost feel helpless, like the police is not going to help them, the local law enforcement aren't going to help them, so they just don't report the crime and just take the loss. And that's one of the reasons why so many shop owners are frustrated right now. That's going on. This soft on crime policies are 100% to blame for the uptick in crime. Once again, you want to invest in gold, silver, precious metals, the Birch Gold Group experts, and what they do, they're A+ Better Business Bureau rated. They have been trusted. They have been served thousands of our viewers. And if you've been on the fence and you said, hey, I just need to get some more information about this, I'm not sure if I want to take the call yet, I just encourage you to at least reach out and get a free information kit on that at the Birch Gold Group. So text the words Trump to 989898 and get that free information kit. It will not cost you anything. You will have the right people answer the questions. They're not going to lead you down a path of it's going to be crystal clear of what they truly are trying to help you. So text the words Trump to 989898. That is the Birch Gold Group. And if you're just now joining us, yes, we are continuing our coverage here in New York City. Day 2 of the jury selection. And of course, the judge ran a little late today, holding the president in until about 5 40-ish there right outside the courthouse, and so he did deliver a few remarks to the press, and then he got in his motorcade and headed this way. So as far as a timeline here, I was told arrival was around 6:30, but we'll absolutely find out exactly what we're looking at right now time-wise. I'll try to get an update on his arrival. I was told around 6:30, but of course, if you're familiar with New York City and the amount of traffic that's going to go this way, as the crow flies, this may not be that many miles, but in a very city like New York, you could face heavy delays with traffic, and then of course it is rush hour essentially here in New York City, so it could be a little bit longer than that. But you're glad you're here, and as we talk to people here in New York City, they have said many times, not only do they need to change on the local level to help fight this surge in crime, and that really starts with the mayor and his commitment to police. And if you look at the police force here, and they have about, from what I understand, I think it's 200 officers a year retire, and they don't simply have the workforce to replace these workers, these officers that are retiring. So it's one of those situations where we have a gap in people feeling the need for officers. And of course, I think they've even had to lower some of the standards for police officers in this city to enable to have, bring in more of a qualified, or at least get some bodies in some positions, because this is one of the most important things to the city, is to have a strong police force that's funded and supported by Mayor and of course Eric Adams. It's almost like a reactionary point where they wait until the problem happens and they try to correct it. And I think most cities are understanding that stance that we saw back after the Black Lives Matter movement, of the whole defunding the police department, and maybe defunding sometimes what even the right word for it, but it was like maybe to decrease the resources for them, has not worked out for some of these cities, and they have seen a significant increase in crime, and that's just not petty theft, but it's also gone a little bit more of a violent crime. And if you look at not just New York, but even in Texas, I know that Fort Worth, a place that you would typically think would be very conservative, they even made it lessen the penalty for shoplifting, vandalism, and things like that. And so that whole movement that we saw back in 2020, I think some of these cities later on start to feel the effects of having these tightened or police force. And I was talking to somebody earlier, and they said, hey, listen, the police officers feel sometimes they can't necessarily do what they need to do to stop crime, and that officers are afraid to do too much. I mean, we live in this era of viral videos and cell phones, and everyone kind of basically want to catch the latest police beating or police shooting, or try, even if someone is justified, even if someone shows aggression to a police officer, even if someone absolutely is warned and they're warned about to comply and they still don't comply. They live in this area where your day at work could be your last day at work, and you can end up in a courtroom and potentially end up in jail. So you've got to, in my opinion, you've got a police force that is kind of reserved into what they can do, and they maybe feel threatened that they won't necessarily be able to do their job. So, but we're glad you're joining us on this beautiful night here in New York City. I was told we had some rain a couple days ago, and I moved out just as we moved in on Sunday to cover the day one of the jury selection. Beautiful night here. This time of year, I've been told before it gets hot, this is a great time to be in the city. And as someone who's been here for about 3 days walking around, there is a lot of tourists in the city. There's a lot of families. There's a lot of, I would say, international tourists as well here in the city, visiting New York around Times Square and around the financial districts and checking it all out. I noticed yesterday on the subway, and I did take some subways, and we'll get to where the worst subway is in New York City in just a second. But when I took the subway, I had no problems. I went from Canal Street down to the financial Wall Street area, no problems there, and I just went all down to Times Square, no issues there. But from what I've been told, from 109th Street north to where we are is considered one of the most dangerous subway in New York City. I think it's called the N line. So the N line going north on 109th Street and higher is always susceptible for petty theft and crime on the subways. And a lot of vendors that I've been told that set up along the subway system down there, they are simply packing up and leaving because the theft for them is continuous, that people would walk up to these hot dog stands or what have you and just simply take the money at will right there, and with no consequences of getting reprimanded or caught. So that type of crime is ruining this city, and that's what President Trump is going to address here at this bodega here in Harlem, is his effort to crack down on crime, and not just crime here in this city, but crime across the country. And also, if you look at on the international foreign policy scale, so much has gone down on Biden's watch globally, as far as the in my opinion, the lack of respect that some of these countries have for President Biden has put them in a situation to do things they normally would not have done. One of them being, I feel like Putin would not have invaded Ukraine. I don't think that would have happened if perhaps President Trump was in office, and President Trump often talks about that on the campaign trail, that he would not have invaded Ukraine, and also he often talks about Israel and the conflict, and of course being attacked by Iran and Yemen, and just being surrounded last week, and that would not have taken place under a Trump administration. Now, see a little bit of the security detail kind of getting into place. I don't know if we're perhaps getting a little bit closer to President Trump arriving. Quick check of the time. We're around. Get a quick check of the time real quick. So I want to make sure that we have local time here is 6:27. It was scheduled to arrive at 6:30. I'm checking for any updates that I might have gotten from the Trump team to make sure that we were in place for that arrival. Now, he will arrive just off to our left, your right. You'll get a great shot of him getting out. He's going to briefly greet the crowd, I would imagine, and then at that point he will go inside this bodega. I've been told he'll speak for about 15 minutes to I would say the employee or the shop owner inside. I don't have any details of who is inside, just some workers, but then he'll go inside, talk to him for about 15 minutes, and then come out and take some questions or maybe make a statement, and we'll see if we can get a question in as well on this. But we're very tight security here, and also tight press area, as we're kind of jammed in this little area for the media. You can imagine the amount of media here is extraordinary. I think we have about 35 to 50 outlets just in this area that we're at now. I don't know if Joe can show you, but back on the other side of the crowd that we're looking at right now is another set of cameras that are set up, and they've had to really kind of boom up their cameras to kind of get over, but they're over there, and of course we've got some media that's across the street as well that's just kind of shooting, and I think they're kind of getting crowd reaction over there, which I said earlier. Obviously this is Harlem. I mean, you wouldn't think that this is 100% of obviously not a red area, but there are a good amount of Trump supporters, and they've come out, and we've seen people not only drive by, we've seen people walk by. Trump for president, Trump 2020, very things like that. But we've also heard the opposite of that, and we've heard them as well, and they've been pretty vocal. So this is New York. People are heated, people are passionate, and that's what we are to expect in a city like this. So, but this is why President Trump, this is something that, right now, this trial is end up being, I think, one of the will be a huge mouthpiece for the president, because each day, that Monday, Tuesday, Thursday schedule that he has, each day he'll be able to, come out, meet the press, and talk to the press every day after a court, talk about the court case in a way, give his opinion on what is going on, and then addressing issues like this. I mean, he's going to own New York City for the length of this trial. He's going to be able to go around this city, highlight the problems of this city, talk about his policies and what they would do to change the city. So, when you think about it, he is absolutely utilizing this time in the city to promote his policies, and it's a very smart. I think it's a smart tactic of what he's doing, and the rallies are great. And we've got one this weekend in Wilmington, North Carolina, and I'll be there for that. But it's moments like this, I think, really drives it home, and where President Trump can talk about his policies, he can connect to the people. You can see people on the ground. Like, this isn't a staged rally. This is something that, if you just happen to go to this Mexican food restaurant, all of a sudden, if you just happen to show the Mexican food restaurant on today, then guess what? You get pretty much a front row seat to President Trump, or really any of these areas over here. So this is a great grassroots almost effort. This is almost like something that someone would do if they were just now getting into politics. And so something as hyper sensitive as President Trump is, and in general, it's a very, it's you either love him or a lot of, people don't like him at all. This is what you do. You come to the people, you come to the problem, you do just what he's doing right now in front of this bodega in Harlem, New York. You can't beat that right now, and I think it's a great tactic. And if the judge is going to drag him into New York City 3 days a week and make him sit in trial from 4:30 up to 4:30 in the afternoon, then this is what you do after the trial. You come out here and you see the people of New York, and you convey your message. And we've got to and we want to make sure that we're here for these. And that's, like I will say it again, thanks to our friends off the Birch Gold Group for allowing us to keep on the campaign trail and on the trail for President Trump. And one way you can thank them is to, go to the Birch Gold Group. Go check it out. Go text the words Trump to 989898 and get that free information kit on investing gold, silver, and precious metals. That is absolutely the best way to not only secure your financial freedom, but to thank them for coming out here and doing this for us. So we appreciate our friends at the Birch Gold Group. As you can see, they did remove some barriers. I'm just going to try to do a quick observation of where they're putting them. Okay, they're just kind of carving out an area now. Just based upon my limited experience of doing these OTRs, I would say we're probably within maybe 10 to 15 minutes away from him coming. I think once we see people really get in place, then it would be at that point imminent, which would be within 5 minutes. So I see them got some more barricades put up behind me that you can't see. So looks like we're getting close. We're glad you're joining us. We're just now tuning in. We are live here in New York City, in the Harlem area, in front of a bodega. Now, the significance of this particular location is where a business owner fatally stabbed an attempted burglary here. Some guy. So the store clerk stabbed fatally a potential robber. Girl came in to buy something, didn't have the money. The boyfriend came in, attacked, jumped over the counter. The store owner stabbed the attempted robber, and then, of course, he was jailed temporarily. He has now since sued the city for that. But that is the significance of why we're here. That's the short version of what happened. I'll post that article up on my Twitter page as soon as I can. That is a short version of that, of why we're here. But we're going to focus on crime. We're going to focus on localized crime here in New York City. And, of course, we talked to a bunch of people from the Collect Pond Park across from the courthouse, and all of them said that crime here is out of hand. Not just the economy living in New York City, but also crime, violent crime. This is stuff that, you've got even like TikTok videos, a trend where young girls are getting punched in the face at walking down the street. That has become a trend on TikTok. It's even crime like that President Trump wants to crack down on and make it where these district attorneys will take stuff like that seriously and prosecute these people. And of course, if you've got a young daughter and they live in this area, anywhere in New York City, I would imagine that that's a concern for. As a parent, I've got 3 kids, and I would worry sick if they lived in a city like New York. So I mean, this is the number one priority. I don't care where you live. If you're not safe in your home, you're not safe on the streets, you're not safe at work, then this is like a third world country at that point, and you don't want your country looking like a third world country where there's lawlessness and no accountability for crimes that are actually committed. And that's what we're kind of facing in a lot of cities around the country right now. Quick check of the time so we can kind of give you an idea. It is 6:35 here local time in the East Coast, and it looks like we're, it could be imminent. I see that traffic, if I'm not mistaken, I'm going to look around. It has not stopped. It did stop on our side. So they stopped the flow of traffic coming this way on our street, which would kind of give me a good indication that President Trump would be at least perhaps in the general area. I'm looking in the skies for any type of, news helicopters that could be following the president. I don't see that at this point. I don't see any kind of chopper coverage of this. Now that we are in some airspace, there's a airport that I do see planes fly over, so I don't know what the regulations for that might be, but I don't see any kind of news presence here. And I would imagine they would track them for a certain degree to get here. But if you're familiar with New York City and you kind of know how the traffic flows, yes, President Trump does have a he's got his motorcade, he has his escort, obviously, but just looking at the number of streets and the distance that it takes to get here would be, without a doubt, a challenge. And a lot of people right now, it's 6:36, and a lot of people getting off work. The challenges of trying to get to their home, take the bus, try to get to their apartments that live in this area. It has caused kind of a it's a little bit of a log jam here, traffic-wise, and there's a lot of people that have huddled along the streets on the side. And Joe's giving you a good look at across. Now, what you're looking at right now, that's across the street from us, and they have bike racks that go the length of that block. So that's to keep people from crossing the street. And of course, that lane of traffic, as far as I can see, is open right now. I believe it's open, or maybe no. I'm sorry, no, it's not. So they've eliminated that. This kind of looks like if you were to, if you ever go to a parade, if you go to a parade, then you absolutely see how they close off the streets and close off for pedestrian crossing. That's what this looks like. So to kind of give you an idea on that, I do see a couple choppers that have gone over. I don't know if that's just out flying, or is that any indication that he might be in the area. But if you're just now joining us, yes, we're day 2 here in New York City. Okay, I've got people that are. Let me see. I'm gonna you just keep the I'm gonna go look over here. I just see. Okay, I can confirm that we do have them rolling up over here. Let me go ahead and get out of the way. As we, you can just probably stay right there, Joe. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see it. That's all right. But we do have the motorcade. As a lot of cheers coming from the crowds here. Obviously, President Trump making his way in here. Obviously, crowds coming in as the president makes his way to New York here. We got some Secret Service popping out. And we're going to listen in as we're live here in Harlem for President Trump. Here on a beautiful night in New York City. Let's let this play out. Let's listen in. Overwhelming crowd response with USA as President Trump makes his exit.
Everything good?
President Trump greeting the fans that have showed up at the Mexican food restaurant right next to this bodega. Obviously chanting 4 more years. We've got chants behind us as well. Cheers all around here in Harlem. Now, from what I've been told, let's see if we got a good look of him right now. From what I've been told, he's going to go inside for about 15 minutes or so, and it could be, of course, who knows how long that will be. Talk to the store owner, talk about the challenges that he faces as a bodega store operator and some of the challenges he faces with shoplifting, petty theft, and also serious crime. And of course, no one wants to, if you're a shop owner, any kind of business owner, no one wants to face these notions like any kind of violent crime. And so this is important to this neighborhood, and these bodegas are a vital part of any community like this. And it's a very universal kind of a community, the heartbeat of the community to a certain degree, and that's what you have here. And that's what is so important, that these bodega shop owners and people around communities like Harlem feel like they can go into their business, they can operate under normal business hours and really extended out after hours and serve the community after dark. And it's one of those things that they feel like they can no longer do due to the crime that has been taking place. If you're just now joining us, welcome. We are live here in Harlem, where President Trump just moments ago entered this convenience store here, located on Broadway Street here in Harlem. And he is really, we got a good shot of him there, has made it a focal point to work on crime and address the issues of these communities, as this nation is plagued with not only migrants coming, and we've got reports, and it seems like it happens quite a bit of petty theft and just stuff on the street. But these shop owners, the ones that feel like the prosecution for shoplifting is not addressed, it's run rampant. And these criminals feel like there's no accountability for what they're doing, and so it takes some of these shop owners have applied for personal weapons, your personal firearm permit to be able to carry and protect themselves in case of something like that. And this particular bodega that we're at here right now, a store clerk had to basically defend himself and stab a would-be guy. Was attempted to kill him. He was attempted to steal money, and he had to react. And the way he did was, he took the initiative to stab the would-be criminal. So that's how that ended here. And of course, that's just one of several examples of how this has really played out across this country, not only here in New York City. But big crowd here, as you imagine, comes on both sides of this bodega. I would say overwhelmingly cheers for the president here as he walked out of the motorcade. Overwhelming support in this area. Now, we talked to New Yorkers yesterday, and they all said that President Trump was the only person that could save it. Now, he's going to walk out here right now. I'm going to see if we can get a question in. Perhaps he's going to probably make a statement here. Let's listen in as we're live here in Harlem with President Trump.
Conflicted like nobody's ever been conflicted. This is a very exciting time for me because the bodegas, the association, invited me, and I respect them and they respect me. They want law and order. They have a lot of crime, tremendous crime where their stores are being robbed. And as you know, we're going to give New York a very good shot for the presidency. We think we should be able to do it. A lot of things have changed. Lee Zeldin did a beautiful job. He lost by a little bit, and New York's a lot different. And we'll work with the mayor, and we'll work with the government. We'll bring in a lot of money. We have to straighten out New York, and that includes crime. And these guys have great people, great friends, but they have tremendous crime. So we're going to straighten it out.
Mr. President, who in your mind, Mr.
think it's a rigged deal, and it is a rigged deal. It's a rigged trial. Our courts, everything is screwed up in New York, and the whole world is watching. This judge is so conflicted. You understand that. You'll take a look at that. There's never been a judge so conflicted. It's ridiculous. And also, there's no crime. You know where the crime is? In the bodegas, where they come and rob them every week, or more than that.
Mr. President, what kind of juror in your mind is an ideal juror in this
Anybody
trial?
that's fair.
Do you believe that the jurors seated today
I'll let you
can
know
be fair?
after the trial, depending on how.
What did you
Because don't
say?
forget, we're appealing. There shouldn't be a judge. If you look and you take a look around, a good strong look, every legal scholar, every legal pundit said there should be no trial. This is not. There was nothing done wrong. This is all politics. This is coming out of the White House, and it makes me campaign locally. That's okay.
We love Trump! We love Trump!
I don't think so. I think we're doing better, Brian.
Yes, sir.
Better now than we've ever done. So I think it's having a return. You know what? All I want is fairness. And these people have to be treated better. The Bodega Association, bodegas, because every week they're being robbed 2-3 times. It's crazy. It's crazy. And you know what? The police can do it. They can stop it. But they have to be allowed to do their job.
To address the inner cities of America and give them hope to restore the American dream. Atlanta, New York, Philly, Chicago, D.C.
We're going to come in, and number one, you have to stop crime. We're going to let the police do their job. They have to be given back their authority. They have to be able to do their job. And we're going to come into New York. We're making a big play for New York. Other cities too, but this city. I love this city, and it's gone so bad in the last 4 years, and we're going to straighten New York out. So, running for president, we're putting a big plan in New York. I think we can do New York with 500,000 migrants that poured in and took over the parks, they took over the hotels, they take over everything. And you know what they've done? They've destroyed so many people. The African American community now is not getting jobs. Migrants are taking their jobs that are here illegally. Hispanics are not getting jobs. Migrants are taking the jobs. If you look at the unemployment is good for migrants now. It went up 10%, all migrants. And they're in our country. Now they're coming from prisons. I don't know if you know. They come from mental institutions. They come from prisons. They come from places you don't want to know about. They're coming from jails and prisons, mental institutions, and insane asylums. And you have massive numbers of terrorists coming into our country, all because of Biden. And by the way, this trial that I have now, that's a Biden trial. They want to keep me off the campaign trail, but based on what I'm doing, I think there's more press here than there is if I went out to some nice location. I like the police have to be able to do their job. The police in New York are great. They have to be able to do their job. They have to protect these people. Because I just met, look at this young man, and he's got a son who looks like he's a movie star. He's much better looking than the father. And the father said, and you know what? He says he's robbed all the time. I said, how you doing? He said, well, we're robbed all the time. Look, beautiful place. He's robbed all the time. Nobody's ever seen it. It's Alvin Bragg's fault. Alvin Bragg does nothing. He goes after guys like Trump, who did nothing wrong. Violent criminals, murderers. They know there are hundreds of murderers all over the city. They know who they are. They don't pick them up. They go after Trump. Say it. What? I'll let you know in about 2 months.
Speaker Johnson keep his job.
For those good immigrants who doesn't have papers right now, but they
What
have
you
been
have to
working
do,
hard.
look, right now is we have to get the criminals, because many of the people coming into our country are criminals. And mental patients, we have to get them out. They're going to bring them back. We're going to have the largest deportation in the history of our country. And you know who needs that? New York. And again, remember, African American, Hispanic American, Asian American, they're all losing. Unions are losing.
Mr. President, before you arrive here, Mr. President, many of the issues that are talking about, what is he doing here because he doesn't like the community, the Latino community, the Latino immigrants?
Me?
What would you say to them?
Oh, I love them, and they love me. Did you see my numbers? My numbers are the highest numbers in the history of the Republican Party. with the Latinos, with the
Immigrants, community.
and frankly, the immigrants, the illegal immigrants, we're going to have to do something because no country can sustain it. Remember, they're emptying out their prisons and they're emptying out their mental institutions into our country. These are prisoners and people from mental institutions, largely.
Obviously, President talking about the need to secure not only the businesses here in New York City, the demand, he has the proven numbers, the Biden crime, the Biden trial, and just really the weaponization of this Justice Department, as well as the crime here in New York City. Let's listen in.
I think what's going to happen is we're going to end up doing so well. We're way ahead in the polls against Biden. Biden has destroyed our country. Look, Biden is the worst president in the history of our country, worse than Jimmy Carter by a long shot. Jimmy Carter's happy because he's had a brilliant presidency compared to Biden. He's destroyed our country between the borders and everything else. He has destroyed our country. Not only that, wars are breaking out all over the world. We'll end up with this foolish person that doesn't act. We're going to end up in a World War III. So we have to get rid of Biden. We're going to make a heavy play for New York. That's why I'm here. And we have tremendous Hispanic support. The Hispanics are supporting me at a level that nobody's ever seen before. We're going to make a heavy play for New York. Also, African American support. No Republican has ever had the African American support. So we're going to make a heavy play for New York. We'll work with the Democrat mayor, we'll work with the Democrat governor, and we're going to get the state fixed up.
Mr. President, New York City used to be the city that never slept. Now these diners can't stay open at 2 a.m. in the morning and have
We'll get it straightened out. We're going to work with the mayor. We're going to work with the governor. Democrats. I'll work with Democrats. We have to straighten out New York. New York, if it goes any further out, it'll never come back.
What do you believe you violated the gag order?
What?
Do you believe you violated the gag order?
No, I didn't.
Why not?
There shouldn't be a gag order. Let me just tell you. The gag order is totally unconstitutional. The judge should not be there. The judge is highly conflicted. He should not be there.
Will you continue Speaker Johnson to remain in his seat?
You're in Harlem, you're in a different neighborhood, a lot of people make
I think we're going to connect. I think we're connecting already. I was invited here by the Bodega Association, and you know they're being treated very badly between all the robbers. They're getting robbed 2-3 times a week. The stores. I think we're doing I see. Look, the migrants have taken over New York. There are 500,000 illegal migrants in New York. The people of New York are not going to take it. That's why they're going to vote for Trump.
Mr. President, what did you make of the Kurds?
I don't know. It's a little bit early to see. We'll see what happens. But the judge is totally conflicted. He should recuse himself. He is so conflicted. There's never been anybody conflicted like this. All of that stuff is on appeal right now. It's all on appeal. And if the laws are right, the whole world is watching this New York legal system. This is all election interference at the highest level. It all comes out of Washington because they're losing badly. You know they're losing very badly. You do know that. They're losing badly in the polls. And I think you're going to see some numbers coming out now even higher. People don't like the persecution. They don't like what's going on. They don't like these fake prosecutors, deranged Jack Smith, the whole group of them. And I think you're going to see some big changes being made.
What do you think of Speaker Johnson's view?
You know what we're going to be doing, right? We're going to be saving America. Our country is under siege. And take a look at Israel. Israel, all of a sudden, it doesn't feel protected. It has Biden. He doesn't know where he is. It's a real mess.
What do you think of Speaker Johnson's foreign aid package?
Mr. President, how should you protect Speaker Johnson?
Well, we'll see what happens with that. I think he's very good.
Did he brief you on his plan to do 4 separate foreign aid bills?
Good luck. Good luck. Good job you're doing. Good. Thank you.
Mr. President, how should Israel respond to Iran?
Trump taking several questions again from the media. Obviously, a very loud crowd here with a lot of people across, right next door, cheering him on. And of course, this is the
Forget about bodega. Goodbye, everybody. Weekends, we're doing rallies all over the place. And we've never had higher numbers than we have right now. Highest numbers we've ever had, as you know, because you report them. Have a good time,
Mr.
everyone.
President, how should Israel respond to Iran? Would you ever...
President Trump thanking the police officers, as he typically does at the conclusion of any
Sir, would you ever... Would you ever think of
Come on, get over here. We'll get a photo.
What do you think of RFK Jr.?
Nice guy. He's a good guy.
Would you ever think of as your running
He's a
mate?
good guy.
Mr. President,
Let's
your
go.
running
Get a
mate.
picture. Look at these guys.
Mr. President, how should Israel respond to Iran?
Strongly.
Mr. President, would you ever pick him as your running mate?
Thank you very much. He's a good person.
Do you think he's going to pull from
I
Biden?
know him very well. Thank you. Thank you, fellas. Great job. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you, fellas.
Mr. President, should Mike Johnson keep his job?
President Trump getting back in the motorcade, taking questions for, seems like, a good 15 minutes or so from the press here. So obviously we'll follow him as he makes his way out of here. And like we said, of course, this area is super concentrated here. Traffic's been blocked off, barricaded roads. And see if we can get that. And as he pulls away, now I will say this: there are cheers on both sides of this street. Now, without a doubt, very much supported here in Harlem. I was going to ask him, is this a part of the silent majority that's no longer silent? And when you look at this, now we're going to follow him around and track on the other side as he makes his way. Now people are waving at him, and as people are absolutely cheering him on. So you've got obviously a kind of a mixed review once in a while, but down the street here on on Broadway is incredible. It's lined on both sides of the street with supporters. We've seen some MAGA hats. I've seen some American flags, obviously. Just a huge police presence there. Incredible as we kind of wrap up the little bit of the huge police effort on part of the NYPD, regional, looks like probably even some state authorities there, as well as the Secret Service. Hey, we want to thank you for tuning in on this very special Tuesday night here in New York City in Harlem. If you missed a little bit of early coverage, you can always go back on our Rumble page and rewind it, rewatch it again, as this is historic. I mean, I have not personally seen the president here in New York City on the ground like he has, as you would expect, the high security that we have in this area due to the nature of where we're at and the dense population that's around here. It definitely took a concerted effort on everyone's part to make this complete. Hey, I want to thank our friends over the Birch Gold Group for allowing us for once again to partner up with an event like this. If you want to invest in gold, silver, precious metals, it's easy to do. Just text the word Trump to 989898 for a free information kit. That's the Birch Gold Group. All right, programming note, I'm live in Wilmington, North Carolina on Saturday, and we'll continue to follow all the events here in New York City, as when he's on the ground, you can bet we will be too. Until next time, everybody, don't forget to follow me on Brian Glenn TV on Twitter, on Instagram, on @Brian on Truth Social. Until next time, goodbye, God bless, from beautiful New York City.
What's up, guys? My name is Jaden Hurd, and I have a Christian show called Let It Be Heard, where we analyze culture and current events from a biblical perspective. I highly recommend you guys check us out. We now have episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And basically, what happens is we react to videos, we have talking points, we have on guests, and it's very exciting. Come check us out on Rumble on the RSBN channel. God bless you guys.
I'm excited to announce we're having a huge MyPillow spring sale. And here's a few examples. Buy one of our MyPillow 2.0s, you get another MyPillow 2.0 absolutely free. Made with cooling technology, the best pillow ever just got even better. And this just in, 9 brand new colors and styles of our Percale bed sheets. They're made with the finest long staple cotton, and now you can save 50% or more. That's as low as $24.98. And for the first time this year, I'm bringing you our My Slippers and Sandals for as low as $25 a pair. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to get your MyPillow 2.0s. Buy one, get one free. Percale sheets as low as $24.98. My Slippers and Sandals as low as $25 a pair. And for a limited time, when you order $75 or more, your entire order ships absolutely free.
Welcome to the Right Side Broadcasting Network. We're not like the other media outlets out there that cut and edit what other people say. In 2015, we were created by our founder, Joe Seals, to cover President Donald J. Trump's speeches and rallies, to which we continue to do to this day. We've also covered important conservative events like CPAC, TPUSA, March for Life, and many other important events and hearings around the country. We were made for people like you, everyday Americans who are tired of the mainstream media, who are tired of being lied to, manipulated, and fed an agenda. Our goal here at Right Side Broadcasting is to allow you to see the truth, giving our correspondents and commentators a wide latitude to speak their minds. You won't find anything like this in the mainstream media. Your support through your donations, locals, and supporting our advertisers allows us to continue to cover important events around the country each and every day. So, from us here at Right Side Broadcasting, thank you for supporting us and the right side of history.